Well, next time you decide to honk strongly at someone, make sure it's not Russell Crowe, cause he will make sure you know
what a bad day is. But you're gonna find out.
What up peeps, and welcome back to a new review video where we will be looking into Derek Borte's 2020 movie Unhinged, starring Russell Crowe and Karen Pistorius. And as usual, I'll have to warn y'all that this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen it yet, you know what to expect.
You're gonna need it.
The story of this flick is just as in the title. A man seeming to be on the edge, shown to have murdered a couple in their home for what could possibly be a revenge attack. We then meet Rachel and her family, with Rachel seemingly struggling to make ends meet, partly because of her neglect and irresponsibility, while having some issues with her ex-husband about their end of marriage and the circumstances around it. And her day gets worse as she is late to drive her son Kyle to school again, and at the same time she gets fired from her work for being late as well. So we get a sense of how badly her day is starting. And as she's driving Kyle, she comes across our unhinged man on the road, who was stalling a green light while she was waiting behind him. She honks strongly at the man to move, and eventually overtakes him to continue on her road. The man gets upset because of this, and follows her to have a conversation about how she should apologize for what she did, and what it means to have a really bad day. Rachel, however, shuns the man and drives off, and that was the trigger that sent the unhinged man on his road rage.
You hear me, miss? You're gonna fucking learn.
What I liked about this film is how realistic it is when it comes to portraying everyday events and the conversations between the characters, despite a few cheesy one-liners that were thrown around, which got me laughing a little bit, but it didn't take much from the enjoyment and tension the movie was giving. It showed some real footage at the start, from road rage incidents to full chaotic moments, and how some of them started from simple verbal altercations and escalated out of control to huge fights, runovers, and major accidents. So it kind of took ideas from these incidents to introduce a story and dialed the intensity to full-mode violence in it. Russell Crowe absolutely nails his role of an unstable villain with a really bad temper and unpredictable behavior, always being on the edge until he gets to the point where he shows our protagonist that he has nothing to lose, as he tells her that dying by fire from the cops or something like that is not a bad end. His performance was one of the most convincing I have seen, especially when he delivers his lines and the strong expressions he shows when he engages either in conversations or in physical altercations with the protagonist and the rest of the characters. And Russell seemed to have the utmost fun with his character, even from the trailer, as he gave us a glimpse of his character in the movie.
I am a figment of your nightmares. I am rage past the point of reason. I am unhinged. So nothing's new. See you in cinemas. Unhinged.
The sequences and scenarios, as well as the interactions between the protagonist and the random people she comes across, were quite realistic and genuine, and the strong moments in general do keep you on the edge and interested to see what happens next. One of the aspects that made this movie even more engaging was that the tension was slowly escalating from what started as a small verbal altercation to a more serious life and death situation. The character of Tom Cooper was already established as someone unstable after he killed his wife or ex-wife and her presumably boyfriend, and was still out free, and his interaction with Rachel initially seemed like a small argument until he escalated it to the point that he took her phone and met with her best friend and lawyer at the cafe. In the beginning, you'd feel that he was just being petty and wanted to mess with Rachel to teach her a lesson, until his unpredictable behavior suddenly explodes and he lashes out at Rachel's friend and eventually kills him in a public place with everyone watching, affirming that he has lost his mind completely and decided to go on a full fucking rampage. From then on, everything becomes a constant adrenaline pumping situation, as you wonder who will he go after next. It's not just a really bad day anymore, it's a life-changing or life-ending predicament for all of his victims. The acting of most of the cast was good, except I would say for Rachel's son, Kyle. His expressions and attitude weren't always convincing, but he wasn't all that bad. But I think he could have put a little more emotion and effort, instead of being almost a no-care or oblivious kid who doesn't know the difference between danger and safety. In general, as much as this was a serious film, some lines were funny, as I mentioned earlier, especially in the end when Rachel finally gets her chance to kill Tom and says to him,
"Here's your fucking courtesy tap!"
This movie is obviously not perfect, but it goes all the way in on violence and intensity, and I would say it's a good fun to watch, with some popcorns on the side. So for my final score, I would give it 6 out of 10. In the end, let me know, what did y'all think about this one, and what rating would you give it for yourself? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and I would very much like to read what you have to say about it. And until I see y'all in the next video, thank you very much for watching, have a splendid day, and peace out.